The state of Maine is bracing for sea levels to rise by 1.5 feet in the next 25 years, rising 4 feet by the year 2100. But way before then, this coastline is already seeing the real damage in real time. CNN's Bill Weir goes to New England to see just how fast things are changing from the climate crisis.
On a planet warmed to record highs by fossil fuel pollution, the Gulf of Maine is among those corners of Earth overheating the fastest. This is driving lobster and cod further offshore, making it harder to make a living off of the sea. But then the warming climate brought another devastating blow this month. 2 of them, actually. Back-to-back freakishly wet winter storms that came not from the typical nor'east, but from the south, and at record high tide, a combination that brought down wharves and docks that have been part of the landscape for generations. So this was what that was there?
The whole building.
No way. That's what's left of it.
Just generations and generations of stuff, and you know, there's a lot of memory down there.
Meanwhile, in South Portland, the storm surge took 3 iconic fish shacks built on Willard Beach 136 years ago.
Pretty obvious they're gone. You know, if you've never been here before, you might not have a clue.
You wouldn't know, right?
And they didn't leave any kind of impression up there either. There's no
trace.
There's no trace of them whatsoever. So the only impression we have is an emotional impression.
It's in here, right? The storms buried the last high water record, literally.
Down there in the hole is the 1978 blizzard high water mark.
Is that right?
That's right. It was covered by sand in this most recent storm.
But all of this is what happens after just 7.5 inches of sea level rise in the last 100 years. And science is telling Maine to brace for much more in the next 25.
Maine is preparing for 1.5 feet of sea level rise by 2050 and 4 feet by 2100. Mainers are resilient, so there are people who are experiencing devastating intergenerational loss right now, and almost in the same breath, they're recognizing the realities of climate change and saying, how high and how strong do I need to rebuild, or do I rebuild at all?
Were you insured?
No insurance. It's so expensive for insurance for anything over the water.
Yeah.
So like me and whoever, they just can't afford it.
Monique Coombs advocates for fishermen, which these days includes sounding the alarm of a growing mental health crisis.
You have memories there, you learn to fish there, your kids learn to fish there, and then these storms come along and it's completely gone. That, coupled with your community changing because now there is more mansions than there are fish houses, that takes processing. That's a sense of loss and grief and a way of life that's sort of fading. And we're in a precarious position in the industry right now, but fishermen are some of the most resilient people I know. They're stubborn, which is a blessing and a curse, and they're really good problem solvers. So if anybody can build back after storms, if anybody can contend with climate change, I think it's those guys and gals.
So the next time you have a lobster roll, spare a thought for the families up here. Another abnormally warm winter storm for this weekend up here. Maybe a little bit of snow in northern Maine, but this is also a blow to the winter sports towns of New England. Thinking about intergenerational loss. Kate, New England, there's no weather, but not like this.
And we say this over and over. We're showing the video again of those fishing shacks built 136 years ago, you said, and wiped out in minutes. It's not the coming crisis, it's the current crisis. Forget where it's going to be in 25 years or beyond. What you're seeing and showing is things need to happen right now.
It's here.
It's good to see you, Bill. Thanks for doing it.
Amen.